And yes, we are officially recording. I'm going to share the
Good.
screen here, and here we go. By the way, we're going to take questions a little bit later on. Can everybody see the screen okay there?
Creating the voiceover
Oh
monster.
yes, we have Rob Marley to thank for that beautiful creation for that
Ah,
slide.
that was fun. I love Halloween. That's my favorite time of year. I
Definitely.
love it.
Well, we're happy that all of you are here on a Wednesday evening, taking time out of your schedule to learn about voiceover. And we came up with the concept, creating the voiceover monster. We're going to just take you through some great ideas. We're going to share our stories of our passions and how we got started. And different things work for different talents. And the beauty about these webinars and doing it with Rob and Tawny is because what works for me might not necessarily work for Rob. We've all got our own little marketing methods that we use to get voiceover clients. But I'm ready to go. So towards the end of the webinar, there's a couple things we're going to do here. We're going to give away a $50 gift card to sweetwater.com. We'll give away that prize towards the end. And if you stick around towards the end, I'll let you know how you can get a free voiceover consultation tonight right after the webinar, because Tawny and Rob are going to be available for only 30 minutes, and we can only take up to 10 people. So you really want to jump on this as soon as you can. But we've got a lot of great information to get to in the meantime. So why don't we just go ahead and roll with this? And here we go. Yeah, that's really cute, isn't it? Actually, I just filmed this today in my backyard. Doesn't it look great? Didn't it turn out great? All right, is everybody ready to
It's
get
not
started?
moving though.
Who's pumped up for this?
Woo!
All right, well, let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name's Terry Daniel. I've been a voice actor. When I started voiceovers, I didn't even know what voiceover meant. I had spent plenty of time in theater and radio and kind of fell into it when I was, my first booking was a country kitchen commercial. I booked it through an audition. I don't even know if they're still around. They're like a breakfast chain, like Denny's or Perkins. That's the one that got me really excited because that was my first real kind of like TV commercial gig, and I really haven't looked back ever since. I started doing voiceovers back when we still had cassettes. Holy cow! I just turned 50 a couple weeks ago.
God, you're old.
I know it's bad. It's bad. But I've got a lot of experience in both voice acting coaching, on stage work, marketing, advertising, radio. I've pretty much done it all. But I've really, I found my comfort zone in voiceover because I get to work from home. And this is an industry where it's impossible to get burned out because you're working on different projects every week. One week you might be working on commercials and theme park announcements. The following week you might be doing an audiobook and telephony, or maybe even a radio imaging campaign. It's just, I love the variety in this business, and I love not having to sit in rush hour. So I'm pretty much going to be a voice actor until the day that I die. So that's just a little bit about me. And how about this guy? Yeah. Let's hear about Tawny Platis. Tawny, why don't you tell us your story, a little bit about your background, and how you've been able to really develop into such a successful voice actor really very quickly.
Thank you. Well, I have a little bit of background. I was a child actor in San Diego and all throughout high school. And after I graduated, I bought a retail store, kind of just was natural talent at that, with marketing and business. And I sold that to pursue the dream of voiceover, and I've been doing it ever since. So it's a little bit of my background.
What made you really want to get into it? I mean, what is it? Did you just hear that it was just fun to make money working from home? Or, I mean, what was really, I mean, obviously with your acting background, but what really kind of made you take the plunge?
I do not like retail at all.
That'll do it.
It is not fun.
Can't blame you for that one.
No. So that was a big one. And then it really had been a lifelong dream. Like you think about it as it being mostly cartoons and that kind of thing. And that was originally the idea. I was like, God, I gotta like move out to LA, and I'd have to be taking this huge risk and just auditioning for these like, parts that millions of people want. And I started looking into it a little bit. My husband actually has a congenital heart disease, and we had started a different business, and he had just started to get sicker and sicker, and I had to figure out something to support us independently again. So it was something I was just kind of looking into, like what I could do to support us from home so I could take care of him. And I found voiceover, and I was like, oh, that's my dream, and I can also do it to support us. So that was actually how I got into it. And I figured it out and found Terry, and my first 2 weeks of auditions, I got my first job in a video game, and it's just never stopped.
That is incredible. Any fun stuff that you're working on lately?
I did. I just got a email today from a client that wants me to do, I'm not sure if I can say who it is yet, but it's kind of a bigger bug spray brand, and I'm going to be doing their...
Oh, terrific.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing their commercials and explainer videos regularly now. They want to use my voice. I didn't even get to tell you guys before we got in here. I just got the email. Awesome. I was like, oh my God!
That's
awesome. Yeah, congratulations. Things just keep getting better and better for Tawny Platis. So we're so glad to have you on the webinar and sharing your wisdom and ideas. We'll get to a few of those ideas in just a little bit. And I know we already have some questions in the question box, and we're going to kind of take those as we go along, you guys. We'll take a few live questions. Those of you that in the webinars that have been in the webinars before, you really understand how this works. We'll just, give a few pointers, tell our stories, take some questions, and just have a hell of a lot of fun in the process. So let's go to this. Oh my God, look at this ghoulish guy. Rob Marley, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, everybody.
So Rob, give us a little bit about your background.
I've been in the entertainment business, I guess, most of my life, like video production, TV, stuff like that for ever. And I've always worked in jobs where they were doing a video and they needed somebody to do a voiceover, and they said, well, I'll do it, and
yep.
And so I have done voiceover pretty much for 20 years. And I got a tablet PC about, I don't know, 6-7 years ago from a friend of mine, and something in me clicked when I looked at the tablet and said, this is something that doesn't make any noise. There's no spinning hard drive, there's no fan, and it was
wait a minute. Did you say spinning?
Ugh. All right, you and your see. All right. No, so it was one of those things that I knew that I could record audio without any noise. So the light bulb went off, and I said, hey, I could do this for freelance stuff. So I did what most people do. I bought a crappy microphone and set up in my closet, and have been improving the quality of the gear ever since. And met you, and then realized I didn't know squat about what I thought I knew about voiceover. And yeah, I'm a better person now for it. So,
well, and what's interesting about this industry is, we all kind of have a niche that we fall into the voiceover business. And sometimes you don't really necessarily find that right away. It took me almost 10 years to figure out, okay, well, I'm kind of a commercial e-learning guy. But then, the last 5 years, maybe not quite 5 years, more like 3 or 4, I got into theme park announcements, rules, regulations of different theme parks, voice of the roller coaster. I mean, those of you that have ever been on a roller coaster at an amusement park, when the ride is coming around the bend and you kind of hear that voice coming through the PA of the ride, that kind of, please keep your hands and feet inside the car until the car comes to a complete stop. That might be me. I've done it for many theme parks around the country. Rob, what do you think? What would you say your niche is, real quick?
Oh, I don't have a niche yet.
Is it just kind of all niche, or maybe you haven't really narrowed it down yet?
I honestly, I would love to get into automotive commercials. That is a great field. It's something that every month they're having to buy new ad space, and they're trying to unload the inventory that dealerships have on their lots. So they're always in need for new stuff, radio and TV spots. So that's the area I'm trying to get into. Haven't really made a whole lot of success yet. I made a few contacts, but that's my goal, is to getting into automotive VO.
Well, it's good to have clients that are going to come back to you on a regular basis. I had a couple furniture stores for a while because, they're always updating their sales. There's a President's Day sale, and, the next thing we've got a Memorial Day sale, a 4th of July sale. It's great to get those kinds of clients. And what's the beauty part about having all these theme park clients is because obviously the promotion's changing. They're going to do a big laser show spectacular at Stone Mountain Park. I do that. And then a fireworks show, around the 4th of July. And then they have all these other activities. I have to, do voiceovers for the concerts that are playing at the amphitheaters. So it's good to get those kinds of clients. And how would you like to be just coming onto the webinar now and just seeing this subject header? You think people might think they're in the wrong spot?
Go ahead.
We're going to talk a little bit. So what does it mean that you can't have a body without a head? We're doing the monster theme with voiceover stuff, and we're going to get into a few pointers about it right now, and then we're going to take a few questions here. When you start your voiceover career, and I'll throw this over to Tawny and Rob as well, but building self-confidence and discipline to really get out there. I've noticed that not just people that I've mentored as well, but sometimes the fear factor sets in when people want to, take a leap of faith and maybe leave their full-time job, or they just, that maybe they've been in corporate America for 75 years and they finally want to take a leap of faith. But sometimes, that roadblock kind of gets in the way. So Rob, tell me a little bit about your thoughts on why it's important to build self-confidence and discipline just to get out there.
The way I put it is, you have to have this discipline in yourself to want to do the work, do the auditions when you're just fried, you're just burned out. I mean, no one's going to jump into this full time right off the bat. So everybody's going to have a full time job and do this on the side. And like I say a lot of times, it's hard to break the gravitational pull of the couch, and because it's so easy to just sit on the sofa and binge watch Netflix. But what do you want to be 5 years from now? Do you want to be a voiceover artist, or do you want to still be binge watching Netflix?
Right.
And watching other people's work on TV that that's going on. So it really comes down to, you've got to put in the work. It's part of this job is a grind. It's not a get rich quick business.
No.
And there are times where you're just auditioning, and you're never hearing anything back, and you're not getting callbacks, and it's easy to get burned out. It's like, screw it. Why do I need this kind of rejection? I'll just sit on the couch. But if you really want to be a voiceover artist, you have to develop that discipline to do the work, to do the grind, get into the studio and push out those auditions and make those cold calls and contact those businesses, because that's how you get the work.
Well,
it doesn't just magically show up.
And it's all about getting organized, Tawny. Maybe putting it on your calendar. Maybe you're going to spend 2 hours every morning just on marketing. Once you get the coaching, once you get the professional demos made, which we'll talk about in a little bit, which we all believe is just so very important to get training and coaching. We're never shy about saying that. But Tawny, you keep a pretty tight calendar with your stuff. And in my opinion, building up a disciplined strategy would mean like putting it on your calendar when you're going to audition, when you're going to market to producers and talent agents. Maybe you're going to attend a meetup in your town with other creative people in your industry, and you have to stick to it.
Absolutely. Sticking to it, and also being able to have that flexibility as things come up. That's something that a lot of people struggle with. It's one of those things that you have to be very disciplined about in this industry, because things are always changing. You might think, okay, I'm going to do 2 hours of marketing this morning, and then I'm going to do my podcast, and then I'm going to do auditions, and then I'm going to check in with these people. You have this whole plan, and then you get an email and somebody wants you to do a job that has to be done yesterday.
Yep. Got to be some flexibility too.
That's part of it. That's definitely part of it. But I completely agree. I am scheduled almost every minute of the day because there's so much going on. I have 3 businesses that I'm trying to maneuver all at once. I coach, I'm a voice actor, I'm a podcaster. So organization is extremely important in this industry. It's important to have it on a calendar. When I started training for, I did a 10-mile run about a month ago, and
I stuck to a schedule because we had our little calendar up on the fridge of how many miles we had to run every day. And it really helped me because then you feel kind of like obligated because it's on a paper calendar. And yes, sometimes keeping like a paper calendar, believe it or not, or a dry erase board calendar, believe it or not, with all the technology these days, some of these old school methods really work because all these online calendars are really cute. And they're trendy and they keep us all organized. But just keeping an old-fashioned dry erase board calendar in your studio of what you need to do from 1 hour to the next is, believe it or not, very, very effective. And if it wasn't for that goofy training calendar on our refrigerator, I might not have gone out for a run every day like I did. But I felt obligated because it was on the damn calendar. I mean, it sounds like business 101, but it really does help.
It's easy to ignore an online calendar.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's different when it's in your face the whole time.
Exactly. Something visual that you wake up to or you go into the studio. I think all three of us still use the old-fashioned hard copies. I cannot get on board with the online calendars. I always use them, and then I end up taking them and copying them onto the hard copy in my office. I'm like, okay, great.
Whatever works. As you can see, the third bullet point here is something that I'm very religious about every year. Season promotions like Halloween. So what exactly does that mean? Here's a little marketing tip for you. I start promoting on YouTube and social media for haunted house, haunted hayride commercials. Probably, I would say like middle of July, I start really pushing it out there because I try to follow the same protocol that an advertising agency would go. Because it's funny, I see stuff online and in social media. I'm going to start marketing to companies and see if I can get some Christmas commercial work. And these people are posting that December 10th. Well, I got news for you. They start working on this stuff in February.
July.
Yeah, they're always 7 to 8 months ahead because think about everything that goes into a Christmas commercial. They got to go through the they got to come up with the ideas with the creative director. They got to bring all the writers in. They got to have people vote on it. They do all these surveys and auditorium testing. I mean, it's seriously like a 6-month operation before the commercial's even ready to go. And I try to take. Go ahead, Rob.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, if you're trying to like market to do stuff for like Valentine's Day, now would be the time that you should be focusing on Valentine's Day.
Now is the time to do it.
Christmas, it's already done.
Yeah, I actually, I did a YouTube video that's worked for me every single year. I just bought some like royalty-free ghoulish. I mean, you saw it in this presentation a couple slides ago. I use that, and then I do a voiceover commercial for myself for Halloween. I'll be the voice of your haunted house or your haunted hayride, and I probably get 3 or 4 gigs every Halloween of people that hire me to do it. So YouTube is a really good tool to do some of that stuff. But we're going to take some questions.
Are there a lot of hayrides around the U.S.? I mean, I'm from California. I don't even know about haunted hayrides.
They are. They're still haunted hayrides. Is basically like an outdoor haunted house where you jump on this huge trailer with a bunch of strangers. And then you're taken through like a haunted cave. It's actually kind of cool. It's kind of way back in the day, it was more of a drinking thing for me. I'd bring like a 12 pack of Stella or something like that. It does kind of turn into a little bit of a party, but yeah, they're definitely still around, especially in the Midwest.
It's so funny. Yeah, we don't have that out here. We have the haunted houses and the haunted trails, but I've never had a hayride in my life.
There's a great haunted house out here in Austin that's incredible. I think they're owned by a major corporation now, but the amount of effects and work that they put into their stuff every year is unbelievable. But every year I've marketed to them and like, hey, here's a promo I could do for you. Here's a commercial I produced, and I haven't been able to break that code yet, but I keep trying. I keep hitting them in about June saying, hey, it's right around the corner.
Well, I was actually the character in a Halloween haunted house a few years back, and I don't know how legit or how licensed these people were, but I played like this kind of Black Lagoon, like if you've ever seen the creature from the Black Lagoon, it was that guy, and I'm behind these bars waving a bucket at people. But yeah, seriously, I was
That's so fun.
I was worried about really injuring somebody because the bucket was like it was like this really heavy bucket. And I'm like, it was super dark and there's strobe lights going everywhere. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to kill somebody. And this is going to be the end of my own life. But that's a lot of fun. So Rob, the body should be the main part of them. You should. What did you do?
People how to do. Yes.
Uh-oh.
You used to teach.
I was going to say, I used to teach people at Six Flags. I used to work at Six Flags in LA. And I used to teach people how to be ghouls. And so we would have a ghoul school, and I would train them on how to be, scary. That was my thing.
That's awesome.
How fun.
I'm going to coach you to be scary. That's awesome.
Wait, right there. Oh.
Yeah, we're getting a little feedback here. It happens every now and go to webinar calls kind of slip in and out. But Rob, explain to us now, the body should be the main part of the monster. Let's talk about that. Talk about coaching and skills development real quick.
Okay, well, the main body is the most important part. I mean, the body is what holds everything together. And for me, the idea that if you want to be a voiceover artist, you need the coaching and the skills before anything else. I mean, that's what holds the whole thing together is the training and the skills and the skills that you've developed over the years to be able to deliver the script the way a client wants at the right time, and that's what it's all about. You can have a great voice, you can have an incredible website and lots of marketing, but if you don't have the skills, no one's going to hire you, so it really is, it's the most important part of the whole body. That's why it's the biggest part.
It's the main part because, it's you really have to bring the acting part of voice acting. And that's something that people don't always understand right away. I mean, you can have the best voice in the world, but suddenly you read a script and it sounds like you're reading it, or it sounds like you're yelling it, or doing something. I mean, that's why coaching is such an integral part of success. And you guys know this better than anybody. There are a few of our current students are even on this call, and they know how important the coaching process is. You need to know how to deliver the copy in a variety of ways, and you need to be able to take direction from a client and read the script the way the client wants it to be read. Sometimes we may not even agree with their direction, but guess what? They're paying the bill. If they want something very announcery, but you think it should be kind of like a guy or girl next door type read, well, guess what? You're just going to have to swallow your pride and do what they say. Conversational versus announcery, those are probably going to be the two most popular specs of direction that you're always going to get on a script. And you know what? The announcery reads are still around. We still have plenty of car commercials. We have concert commercials where, the client will want kind of an announcery voice. But Rob, Tawny, you do a lot of conversational like voiceover gigs, do you not?
I do, yeah. I have a little bit of a mix, but just the trends lately have been for conversational. I don't know if you guys have noticed that too, but pretty much every script I get, it's conversational, not announcery. So, like you said,
they do not want to hear somebody that sounds like a radio broadcaster. And I apologize if any of you on the call are in radio. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but especially with talent agency work, we do get I want an everyday, warm-hearted guy or girl next door type read. I mean, if you watch television at night, whether it's network TV or whatever your favorite show is, I guess you're not going to see a lot of commercials if you're binge watching a Netflix show, but you'll notice that a lot of those TV commercials even are just very relaxed and just the warm guy next door type read where it's just somebody's just having a conversation. There is so much of those campaigns. Now you get the big voice, the big 24-hour clearance sale. And hang on, I think somebody's got their. Oh, never mind. We're good. And then again, the importance of taking direction from a client. You're really using your ears in this business, by the way, just as important as using your voice, because you have to be able to listen to what the client is telling you to do. I was in a play. I was in a play about 15 years ago, and there was an actor on the stage, and he would just nod his head at the director. And I'm like, but he never really understood what the director was talking about. He would continue to read the lines the way he thought they should be read. I don't know if it was ego, if he was ADD and just wasn't listening or whatever, but it's really important that you zero in on what the client is telling you, because if you can deliver the copy the way the client wants you to deliver it, and you're good at taking direction, you're going to have a client for life.
Yeah.
Because you know
Absolutely.
what? Because the session's shorter, they don't have to worry about. You're not giving them anything to worry about. And clients want somebody that's easy to work with. You know,
Absolutely.
don't challenge the copy. Don't challenge the direction. Don't ask when you're getting paid if they haven't paid the invoice yet. You know, and if they want the audition turned in by Friday morning, don't call them up on Friday morning and ask for more time. You know, try to if the copies due if the project is due on Friday morning, deliver it on Thursday.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
You'll have a client for life.
Yeah,
I promise you. You know,
under promise, over deliver.
Yep.
Amen.
Always.
Absolutely.
Don't. I actually had a client that I'm currently using was using a different voice talent before he came to me, and he said the former voice talent was always bitching about how long the scripts were.
Oh my God, I cannot even fathom that. Like,
Hello?
I'm like, is there anything else I can do for you? You know what I mean? Like,
So what you're telling me is you're complaining that you're making more money. Because the longer the script is, the more you're going to get paid, you jackass.
I love me a long script.
Oh my goodness.
I'm
unbelievable.
I'm working too much. Can you give me shorter scripts? Can you give me less work, please? I don't want so much work. Can you give me less work? Yeah, that's stupid. That is stupid.
I don't understand that.
I don't understand it. Yeah. Entitlement, apparently. I mean, I tell you what, it's not that hard to just pay attention to what the client is saying. And you know what? There's going to be times where you're not going to know how to pronounce a word. Hello, medical narration.
Yeah.
Typical, you know, what I do if the client doesn't send me a pronunciation guide, most of my medical clients do. They'll even like record themselves pronouncing the words and they'll send me an MP3 of it. God bless them for doing that.
Oh, it's the best.
But if they don't do it, just ask. You know, there's nothing wrong with getting on the phone and say, hey, you know what? Would it be too much trouble just to send me a pronunciation guide? Because I think the project's going to go a lot smoother and a little quicker if you can do this. And then they're going to go, absolutely, because a lot of medical clients maybe haven't hired a lot of voice talents before. But let's talk about marketing, and then we'll take some questions. This is something that we all know a little something about. Guess what? You can't be successful without people knowing you exist.
Yep.
You have to actually get out there. Now, many of our students go on and they do become very successful, but the ones that seem to have trouble are the ones, and this is going to sound pretty basic, it's the ones that don't send their demo out. Don't let your demo sit there and collect dust. You've paid good money for it. Send it out to talent agents, production companies, audio-visual directories or directors in corporations, explainer video companies. I mean, Tawny, where do you send your demos?
I send mine to agencies, production company, ad agencies, production companies, businesses, small businesses, schools. I mean, and what I do is I basically sit there. I'm like, how can this person use my voice? Because I can pitch it. If I know that you can use my voice in some way, if I can think of that. So sometimes that's as simple as a voicemail. You know, sometimes that's an explainer video. I reach out to real estate agents to do the little, you know, voiceovers for their tours of the houses. I've done that before. It's anything that you can think of. How could this person utilize voiceover for their business? Because what you are is a problem solver. So how can you solve this person's problem? They don't have a voiceover.
You're a solution provider. You know, that's exactly what you are. I've always gotten success when I've emailed a prospective client. I call it like a warm email. And then I'll give them a little information, and then I'll let them know that I'm going to call them on a certain day later that week.
That's what I do. Yeah.
That
way you can kind of like, I said this to one of my students recently. I was like, that way if you're like telling them like, I'm going to call you, they're like, oh, they're serious. You know, so a lot of times they'll contact you back and say, you're at least getting a response, even if it's don't call me. You're still getting some kind of response from them too, which is good. Like just telling them or asking them a question so they feel like they have to respond. Like, I'm going to call you at 10 o'clock on Wednesday. Is that okay for you? If there's a better time, let me know. And it's kind of like, oh, she's setting this up. I need to respond.
Oh yeah. You're like setting up the appointment, and you're kind of like forcing them to respond.
Exactly.
It's a perfect strategy. I always end my emails with a question. I never let the prospective client off the hook by saying, okay, see you later, or talk to you soon. I always end it with, would it be okay if I called you Thursday at 10 a.m.? ?
You taught me that when I was first starting out. I thought it was one of the most brilliant things I'd ever heard, and ever since I started doing it, like I've seen my success rate go up with
Yeah,
people.
they just feel it's a brain reaction. They feel compelled to answer the call. Now, there's a protocol that definitely you have to follow, and a lot of talent agencies. That's a different kind of marketing. We talked about that a little bit in other webinars, but you really have to go to that talent agency website and just ask how they want it. You know, usually there's a little form you fill out and you submit the MP3 of your demo. That's generally how it works these days. But this comes after the training. You do not want to put the cart before the horse, because right now, you know, many of you on this call probably don't have anything to market yet, which is why it's really important to go through some kind of a coaching program and get that demo professionally produced. Rob, why is it a bad idea to do your own demo? Quickly tell us that.
Quickly.
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
Oh my God. I did my demo first when I thought I knew everything there was to know about voiceover. I'm like, I got this. I can do this. No big deal. And recorded my demo and thought it was wonderful and sent it out to 30 or 40 different agencies and I sent it out to everybody. And God, I listened to it now and I'm like, oh my God, that I was sending that out, and it's just, you think you know how to do a demo, because everybody thinks, oh, I got it. I say some scripts, I add some music and sound effects, I cut it all together and make it sound really good and push it out. Yeah, but there's a lot more to it. I mean, it's really an art form. Yeah. And the demo producers, like, you know, you, Terry, and out the blowing sunshine, but I mean, there are demo producers out there that know how to make a demo click, and you're not going to be able to do that on your own. I mean, you might get close, but just because you slap compression on the end of the audio it's not enough. And the true artists out there know how to make it work the right way. And you're really just shooting yourself in the foot if you try and do it yourself. I mean, everybody does. Everybody says it's, you know, I can do this, and everybody learns the hard way that that's not the way to go.
Well, if you think about it, you look at an on-camera actor. They don't just extend their iPhone out and take a selfie of themselves and then send it to a talent agency. They're going to get their headshots taken by a professional photographer. Same kind of thing with a demo. I mean, you might think you can just plug in a USB mic and maybe mix it yourself, but it's important to go through the coaching process, and then it's important to get it directed by the coach during the demo session with an engineer and everything, because it's good to have that second set of ears from the engineer as well. And then it gets sent to a demo producer. Now, not all coaches are demo producers. I happen to do both, but not all of them do both. But it's so important, because you hear this expression all the time in just about any business. You get one chance to make an impression. And if you send a talent agent some crappy self-made demo, they may never talk to you again. You might have really pissed them off by wasting their time with this self-made baloney where you just read some scripts off of some royalty-free website, and then you try to do the demo yourself. If you're truly, really passionate and serious about making some waves, you know, in the voiceover business, you have to really follow it. You follow things the right steps. Hey, do you guys want to take some phone calls?
You're caller number 3.
Sorry,
hello, caller.
I wanted to see if you were paying attention, and of course, following proper protocol. I forgot we talked about that, but I forgot my last bullet point. If anybody has a question, there's a couple different ways we can do this. We can take some live questions. Just all you have to do is raise the virtual hand in the GoToWebinar widget. It's pretty cool if you want to ask a live question. We'll address some of these other questions in the question box. But if anybody has a question voiceover related, just raise the virtual hand in the GoToWebinar widget. I'll unmute your mic, and you can ask a question. Everybody's very, very shy at this point.
Milt's got a question.
Yeah, Milt's got one. Milt, I'm coming to you right now. And Milt, by the way, is in our program currently.
Oh, delete him.
And Tawny, we're actually starting to work on Milt's voiceover scripts. By the way,
I saw that message.
Here's why our demos are great. I'm gonna put in a plug for us because we write original copy for the demos.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, absolutely.
Hang on a minute.
Okay, notice that the millennial is the only one that does not have a fidget spinner.
Oh my god. True.
Oh, that's true. That's sad.
Oh
Okay.
my god. All right, hang on, Milt. Milt, good evening.
Good evening. Can you hear me now?
Oh, we can hear you perfectly. You are on the air with Dr. Marley.
We're
Hi.
live.
I kind of feel like the former Sprint guy walking around. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, yeah. I tell you, you know what else was big? Milt, you're probably I don't know how old you are, but do you remember Where's the Beef?
Where's
Oh,
the
God.
Where's the beef?
Very.
Oh my
Actually-
god, that was huge. The Wendy, wasn't that Wendy's or something?
It's Wendy's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Wendy's. Yeah. Great ad campaign.
It
Made
was brilliant.
money off of that.
Oh my god,
Mhm.
huge. Yeah. But anyway, Milt, I could talk about nostalgic commercials all day long, but what's your question?
Well, so here's the thing. You know, once you do that stupid thing like doing your own demo and sending it off to the agent,
Yeah.
so it's been about a year and a half, and then I'll get my professional demo. Am I just kind of stupid to go back to him, or what do you think?
Well, I think that's a really good question, and I think I'm going to mute your mic real quick. Thank you for the question, Milt. There it is. Yeah, what you do is you send them a bouquet of flowers. No, I'm kidding. You know, if it's been, it depends on how long ago it was. I mean, I don't want to discourage anybody from trying to send a real demo, but I will say that talent agents do have really good memories for the shit. I mean, they really do. So, you know, if you ever have that conversation, you know, if you ever get that from an agent where they go, hey, didn't you send us some some horrible self-made demo? Eric Shepard would do this, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't you send us some self-made demo like 2 years ago? Well, then you just kind of admit to it and say, yeah, I didn't really know what I was doing back then. You know, plead ignorance, I guess is what I would say. Rob, have you ever had that happen to you where you're like, suddenly you got it professionally done and then an agent remembered who you were?
God, no. I figured I've always been afraid to try and reapproach the agencies that I hit up before. Because, you know, I mean, Gmail, a lot of people use Gmail, and Gmail, you save everything. So if somebody gets an email from me, they're going to see all my other emails where I sent them the crappy stuff. You know, even if it was a year ago or 2 years ago, they're going to see, oh, yeah, there's that shitty email that he sent the last time. So, I mean, I always feel like I've burned a bridge if I sent out a homemade demo to begin with. But thankfully, no one's ever called me on it and said, you know, yeah, I remember you when you sent me the crappy one. Yeah, no, we don't need you. Thanks. You know, thankfully, that's never happened.
Well, my current local agent, Nuts, in the Twin Cities, I'll tell you just a real quick story. I had kind of burned a bridge a little bit with the old owner of Nuts. And was they said they were going to bring me on board, and then they decided at the last minute that they weren't. But me acting like a total jackass instead of taking it like a professional, I kind of shot my mouth off to a few people about it.
Scary.
And then, you know, that bled into the new owner. So then she remembered the whole story, and then so they had to bring me in for a meeting, but thank God everything went well. It's been a terrific relationship ever since. So just because you did something wrong maybe a few years ago doesn't mean that it's necessarily the end of the world. It's definitely worth solving and worth trying to figure it out. We got Daniel Eder has a question. I've seen him in voiceover camp. Hang on one second, Daniel. Daniel, do you like Daniel, or can we call you Dan?
You can call me whatever you please. Dan's fantastic. Thank you.
Well, don't leave it so open. We're pretty creative.
I've been called many bad things in my days, so it doesn't hurt my feelings any. Hey, for the sake of actually, it's odd that you kind of mentioned it a little while ago. You had mentioned writing your own scripts, and I was going to ask. I made a professional demo some time ago, and I know this may be one of those questions that might be a little sensitive to you because you write your own material and do demos, but I had a professional demo done, and I'd used some pieces that were already available on the internet, some already pre-produced commercials. And on another forum, I won't mention who, but for the sake of consistency, we'll say I was eaten alive by a bunch of voiceover zombies.
Oh God, imagine that.
Yeah, so I was just kind of curious what your thoughts were on using pre-produced material for your professional demo.
Great question. I'm going to go ahead and mute it. I would say that's definitely, this is like the Mac versus PC argument, because it's never going to get resolved, and everybody has their own opinion about it. And, you're going to get 50% of the people out there that say, as long as you kind of change the wording or don't include the name of the product, that's okay. This is a great question from Dan, because this is the reason why I turn to original copy, and Tawny does such a fantastic job with writing original copy that I don't even want to mess with any of that stuff. Plus, I believe that the copy for the demos for our people needs to be more about them, their interests, their hobbies, whatever niche that they're falling in. Plus, I tell you what, the performance during the demo session is twice as good because they're reading material that they're interested in. That makes a big difference. That's why a lot of you have done this with us already, where we do the three-way chat via Facebook, and we talk about ideas for the demo scripts, and we really get great ideas. We call it a demo script creation session, and it works really, really well. So, I mean,
I was going to say,
Rob, what is your opinion on borrowing stuff like from the internet, or actually real spots for your demo when you're not the one that's even done them?
Yeah, one of the things I've actually heard this from an agent was someone sent him a demo that had some spots that they recreated. They borrowed a spot that was on the air and did their own voiceover to it, and the agent that they sent the spot to was actually the agent that had the commercial. And they said, "Hey, I know who did this spot for real. This is a fake, and this guy's just trying to pull a fast one." And so it's like you already set up on the defensive. The agent's already on the defensive because he knows this is a fake spot. I mean, granted, a demo is not really a compilation of all your actual work. It's supposed to be an example of what you can do. Yeah. But to steal somebody else's work, it's kind of bad form. It's the wrong way to go. I mean, if you want to do something like for the North Face or something like that, and drop the name, because a lot of people like to drop the brand names into their demo. Yeah. That's fine. I don't think too many people have a problem with name dropping, but don't steal the copy word for word, because someone's going to know that copy. Someone's going to have written or even have voiced to that copy, and then you're screwed.
Well, that's why we started doing the original copy. We really like, and by the way, when Tawny writes the copy for our mentorees demos, it will never again be used on anybody else's demo. It's kind of like producing like a record or an album. I mean, people maybe can do covers of the song, but this is specifically for you. You are the artist. This demo is all about you. So that's why the copy that we write is always 100% original. If you have any question voiceover related, there's a couple of different ways you can do it. You can type the question in if you don't want to talk live, but if you want to talk live, just raise the virtual hand in the GoToWebinar widget, and I can call upon you. We do have time for maybe one or two more questions, as we're kind of winding down already to the end of the presentation. But Kirk Griffin has a question. Hang on, Kirk.
What a great name!
Oh, absolutely, Kirk. You are on, man. How are you?
Yes, can you guys hear me? Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I'm a big fan of books, which is kind of odd for something where you do a whole bunch of talking, as I've come to find. But I've been really enjoying reading through Voiceover Voice Actor by Yuri Lowenthal and Tara Platt. And I've just been curious if you guys have any books or podcasts you guys would recommend as far as just additional reading material or just stuff that you've been perusing through as of late to kind of just add some more background information, or just to, whatever you guys are currently listening to.
Oh, sure. Voiceover Sermons and Voiceover Cafe, of course.
Oh yeah, we got to plug our own stuff. voiceoversermons.com. Voiceover Cafe. Honestly, there's some good books. Here's the problem I have with some voiceover books. I need to be very careful here because there are a lot of great voiceover books. A lot of them are very outdated. And a lot of them don't really cover a lot about marketing. They're very agency heavy. And keep in mind, with all the talent agency stuff that we're talking about, it is very, very realistic that you can go on and make a really, really good living without being represented by one talent agency. This is not, it's not like the late 80s, early 90s where you really depended on that talent agent to book work. It was really the only way to book work before the internet. But holy cow, with all these resources we have right now and being able to send an MP3 to a production company or, Rob, Tawny, you guys work a lot directly with the client with no agent involved whatsoever, correct?
I don't have an agent. Yeah, I don't have an agent. I'm not really hard up chomping at the bit to get one. If it happens, it happens. I do my submissions and everything, but it's not my main focus. And that's mostly from speaking with my fellow colleagues. A lot of them are like, that's such a small percentage of the work that I get. So, you know what I mean? Most of the work that I get and my colleagues get that I've spoken to, they get from their own marketing efforts. And to be honest, I like working for myself. I like working directly with the client. I like only having to answer to one person and myself. I love doing freelancing and just being able to approach.
And Kirk,
it's refreshing.
Kirk, my friend and colleague in this industry, Dave Crevassier, wrote a book once called "More Than Just a Voice." That one is actually really well done. That really goes to the nuts and bolts of just getting started, and he does. He's a really good online marketer. My God, he's been a long time anchor person in Vegas, and personally, he's just a jerk. No, I'm just kidding. He's like one of my best friends, for God's sake. Check that one out because that's actually a really good voiceover book. So, all right,
Corvo's book is a good one. I was going to say a good kind of textbook for voiceover, kind of an all-around. It's a little dated, but it's a great book. Is James Alberger's book, and I can't think of the actual title of it.
I think it's called, God, it escapes me too. But
it's like the complete voice actor or something. I forget what it is. But Alberger's book is great.
Alberger's book is pretty good. And the nice thing is he keeps updating it. So when I talk about outdated books, James Alberger's book isn't one of them because he keeps coming up with these new versions of it. Hang on, we got some written. No, go ahead, Rob.
I was going to say one other book that I just love. I love this book. I've read it 3 times now, and it just makes me chuckle each time. Is Paul Strickwerda's book, "Living in Your PJs" or "Make Money in Your PJs." That's the name of it.
Such a good one.
It's such a deceiving title. It's like, oh, I can make money in my PJs, but then the minute you start turning the pages, like, no, that's not how it works. Like, you need to treat this as a job. But the way he tells these little anecdotes and conveys the information, it's a great book to read and reread, because every time I reread it, it's something new. There's something I missed or something I forgot, and it's just a great little thing to read a chapter and then kind of remember stuff and use that knowledge for your career. It's a great one. It's a great read. Paul's book is fantastic. I love that one.
Michael, go ahead, Tawny.
The voiceover legal book,
Rob Siglimpaglia, who's man, he's got his fingers in a lot of pies. He's an attorney. He's an on-camera actor. He wrote a really good legal book. That is a good one, Tawny, for sure.
As far as the business side goes, that book is fantastic. That's one that I recommend to everybody.
Yeah, that should definitely be in your library.
Business. Yeah, absolutely.
It's The Art of Voice Acting, says Sean Daly, who I didn't even know who was on the call. Sean, what up, man? Sean and
get rid of him.
Sean and Paul. Paul do a nice little podcast called Sean. What is the name of your podcast again that you and Paul? Oh my God, my names are horrible. But
VO-Meter Podcast is the name of it.
The VO-Meter Podcast is a good one too, because
it's a fantastic podcast. I love these.
Real good.
All these guys do is they talk about where their careers are at now. They don't try to pretend that they're making billions of dollars doing voiceovers. It's a very candid presentation of their journey to become a voice actor making billion dollars. No, so yeah, that one's a very good one. We do have a question from Michael Bahasek. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that correct. My apologies for Mike. How long does a VO artist use coaching? Throughout whole career or just during training? Well, we believe in ongoing education. Even coaches get coaching. I still check in with a coach every now and then because I might be falling into a bad speech pattern, or maybe there's a new technique that's out there that I'm not using. Definitely,
the millennial read.
Yes, the millennial read. Or I got a client today called me up and said, "Can you do the Rob Marley read?"
Oh God, no, I can't even do that.
I can't believe your name is showing up in all these client directions, Rob. You're huge, man. You are huge, man.
What's the 4 stages of acting is who's Rob Marley? Get me Rob Marley. Get me a young Rob Marley. Who's Rob Marley?
Oh my God, that's terrific.
That's how you know you've made it.
Yeah.
Well, to answer Michael's question, I mean, you definitely want to do everything in the right order. You definitely want to get the coaching first. Now, you can go into any recording studio and, they'll do your demo. But if you haven't had any coaching, I definitely wouldn't recommend it. But I would definitely recommend getting a little bit of coaching here and there, even after your demo, because you want to stay fresh. Actors do this. Do you think Tom Cruise doesn't still meet with his acting coach? He absolutely does. So
maybe that's his problem.
This is this is kind of an ongoing it's an ongoing thing really for the rest of your life.
Always you're always learning. I mean, when you stop learning, you die. That's really it. I mean, so top names still get coaches, still get checkups with coaches. They may not be like going through a month-long course, but yeah, I mean, top names in the business still check in and get coaching to make sure that they're current. It's an ongoing thing. It's continuing education.
If you think about any business, coaching is a part of any business. Look at sports. I mean, coaching's all over the place. Business people take business coaching. It's Paul Stefano. That's what the name's, Sean. Thank you for that. I can't believe I forgot his last name. I've done like 4 demos for the guy, and his last name slipped me. How horrible! But
Terrible.
Jeff Devitt says, "What is the best way to choose a voiceover coach?" Well, we're going to tell you that in just a few minutes, Jeff. No, seriously, we will. We've got we'll talk about that in just a minute. But we got a prize that we have to get rid of, you guys.
Yay!
We got another. Every webinar, we give away a $50 gift card for Sweetwater.com, and then you can use that towards a microphone, a pair of headphones or whatever. And I'm going to just kind of pick a winner here. The winner is... Are you guys ready? Can't you guys be a little more creative than that? The winner of the $50 gift card goes to Ashley Hewson.
Yay, Ashley!
Congratulations, Ashley. That's awesome.
That is incredible. Thank you very much.
I want a Sweetwater gift card.
We'll keep your name. Yeah, I mean, it's a great, you talk about a place that has some great recording gear. I want to talk about
customer service.
I want to talk about VoiceOver Camp just a little bit. A lot of you found this webinar through VoiceOver Camp. If you are not a member of our Facebook group, there's the link right there. I think you can even, I don't even know, maybe you can click on that link at the bottom. I'm not sure if it'll work from your end, but if you go to facebook.com/groups/voiceover camp right there, you'll be able to get into our Facebook group where we have lots of different conversations about stuff. And that there you can find out about future webinars that we do. We try to do just kind of a Q&A like we've done tonight, just basic voiceover information at least once a month. So if you're not in VoiceOver Camp, please join us. All right, let's talk about the free voiceover consultation. Everybody on this call is eligible for this. After the call here, what do we got? About, it's pretty close to 7 o'clock. So here's what we're going to do here. Just for the people on this call, and by the way, I really appreciate it. It's not easy all the time for those of you that work during the day and then you come home and you're taking time out of your Wednesday evening to join a webinar. And we hope that the information was very helpful. We want to encourage people on the call to take advantage of a free voiceover consultation. Tawny and Rob are going to be available after this webinar for only 30 minutes, and we can only take up to 10 people. So this offer is really only good for tonight. Now, I want to encourage people, because we've done this every webinar. It's not easy to take the leap of faith and, get training or get coaching. It takes movement from you. And why do I say that? Because you heard our stories and how we kind of stumbled and ran into a few roadblocks when we were just getting going, because we didn't have the resources that we have today. Coaching was around, but you had to find some guy in like Mankato or something, or, it wasn't as easy to find as it is online. So if you're truly passionate about getting into this business, I would definitely recommend getting some coaching first and then getting your demo produced, whether it's, us, we'd love to do it, obviously, or somebody else, but definitely, jump off the fence and get moving on it. Because, Rob, we hear this all the time. People keep putting stuff off until tomorrow. And the longer you put this off, really, the most likely that you're just not going to do it. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That what the Chinese saying, the best time to plant a tree was yesterday, and the second best time is today. If you really want to do this, get off the fence, get off your ass, and commit to it. It doesn't have to be a huge financial investment and second mortgage on the house and all this nonsense. Do it in little chunks, but do as much as you possibly can to make the reality that you want, make the future that you want now. Because that's when you do it. If you want a good future, start now. That's what it's all about.
That's right. So that's why we're kind of offering this free voiceover consultation. Rob and Tawny will be available for 30 minutes after the webinar to answer any questions that you might have. And we do like to do this via Facebook too. So you find them on Facebook. They're also in Voiceover Camp. They're easy to find them there, or just look up just look up Tawny, Platis, or Rob Marley, either in Voiceover Camp or on Facebook. Send them a private message via the messenger, and that'll start the consultation. So I really hope you take advantage of this. They're going to be available again for the next 30 minutes. If you're the easiest way is really follow that link to just get into Voiceover Camp, facebook.com/groups/Voiceover Camp. Tawny, you'll be available for 30 minutes, yes?
I will. And if you are already on our roster, you are already getting all of the information that you need, do not message me. Because I'm already talking to you. I'm already working with you. This is for questions of people that are trying to get into it. So just to be clear,
brand new people, yep.
I'm already coaching you.
Yep, for sure. And then Rob, you're also going to be free for the next 30 minutes.
Yeah, I'm good to go. If anybody wants to chat, I'm more than happy to lay it all out and tell you what you need to know. At least I think so.
Terrific. Well, you guys, I think that's going to do it for our webinar. I'm going to get our little title slide on there. I really appreciate it. We went a little bit over tonight. We did record this, so those of you that jumped on late, I am going to post it in Voiceover Camp tomorrow. Again, hit up Rob and Tawny via Facebook. Go into Voiceover Camp, or just do a search in the search box for either one of these two if you want that free voiceover consultation. Congratulations to Ashley, who won the $50 gift card from Sweetwater.com. And
congrats, Ashley.
All right, we'll talk to you guys after the webinar here, and we really appreciate you taking the time. And we'll see you online. And those of you that I'm already working with, obviously, we'll talk to you sooner than later. And again, if you're super passionate about getting into the fields of voiceover, take advantage of the free consultation and hit up Rob or Tawny right after the webinar, and we'll get you going. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Take care, and we will talk to you very soon. Have a great night, and happy Halloween. Rob, can you give us your best ghoulish laugh real quick? Oh my God, I absolutely love that. All right.
Oh, I think I blew a gasket. Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Bye, guys.